This will expedite all of your audits. I promise you. All of the stuff that I just told you, you could just throw it out the window. If you have Opteo and you need to audit people, this is the best way. How's it going, everybody? It's Gene Villanos here back again. It is episode 78, and today we are talking about Google Ads audit checklist. So if you want this actual checklist that I'm going to go over, please go to my website, tempest59.com, go to the blog section, and you'll see it's the only blog that I've actually written, and it goes through all of what I discussed today, which is a little bit lengthy, and I think it is important for you to just kind of look at it and see from a text perspective instead of just audio perspective of what I mean when we're talking about Google Ads audit checklist. So why am I doing this episode? I think the very first reason for why I'm doing this episode is we need to continually audit our accounts on Google Ads. It doesn't matter if you've had the account for 1 week or 10 years, it really doesn't matter. We have to continually audit. Why do we have to continually audit? Because there's always going to be money left on the table or wasted spend in a Google Ads account. It doesn't matter if the Google Ads account is, like I said, a year old, a week old, 10 years old. You've managed it for that amount of time. There's going to be wasted spend. And some people, before they get super defensive and say, no, mine is the perfect Google Ads account. There is nothing that I can improve. There's no wasted spend. Well, if there's nothing that you can improve and there's no wasted spend, then that kind of just leaves us PPC or Google Ads managers without a job or opportunity. So I think you should count it as a blessing to have things that you could optimize, or else if everything was optimized, then why would any client or organization need us? So I think the very first thing is just understanding that this is a Google Ads audit, and it's essentially your roadmap, your checklist. If you want the actual checklist in PDF form, email me also at gene@tempest59.com. But anyway, the very first thing I would like to tell people is start with the big picture. What does the big picture mean? In my opinion, it means our account structure. Is the account structure that we currently have in the account that we're auditing grouped or organized logically by either your products, your service, or a specific theme? I think that's one of the first things that you should check out. And you can kind of see the account health of a new audit or a new Google Ads account by how the account is structured. If it's just random, names or just structures, or you see multiple campaigns that are kind of cannibalizing each other because it's the same thing. Maybe you see two brand campaigns, or you see two campaigns that are direct to the same product. That could be a red flag for sure. Second is, how are these campaigns not only organized or structured, but what are the names of these campaigns? That's one thing that I see immediately if I see an account or a specific audit, and I see that I can't easily understand what these campaigns mean or what is inside a campaign with just a glance. And I wrote this in my blog. I think it's super not important, but I think is a good tip to understand that you have to just make Google Ads interface, the dashboard, just easily digestible. And that's why we audit accounts, right? To make sure that, okay, is everything organized, categorized correctly, or categorized well? And I got this from the great Kirk Williams. In his book, he mentioned that I think it's someone that he came across, maybe it's an agency, a freelancer, but the way they do things to just kind of keep the account a little bit more clean for each campaign that they have. If the budget remains untouched, then it'll end with a 0-0. So perhaps you that campaign will have $10, 10 decimal point or 10.00 per day. Now, if a campaign is currently being decreased in budget, you as a Google Ads manager know these accounts are probably getting decreased. Maybe we need to just spend a little bit less because we can't really pinpoint or target the relevant searchers for this campaign. Then that will end in a 9.9. So it would be, for example, 10.99 or 9.99 per day. Or if account is increasing, we're looking to scale, getting more conversion value or conversions for an account, then the budget will end in 0.1. So it'll be like $10 0.01 per day. So I think this is an easy way to just keep things organized and easily audited, because there could be a account that has 40 campaigns, and to go through all of, I mean, 40 is kind of excessive. Let's just be honest. Maybe like 10 campaigns. So like to just have this as a tip to make sure that, the naming conventions and how things are organized, and we could see right from the get where the budget is, if this budget is decreasing, if it's increasing, if it's stagnant, those are the pro tips, in my opinion, to really make sure that an account is organized well and it could be audited fairly quickly. Third is goals and strategy, starting with the big picture. Next is goals and strategy. Does the account align with the business, marketing, conversions, goals, and objectives? Not only to say within the settings, because there is actually marketing objectives or conversion goals, but just in general, are we actually getting the leads, the sales, the brand visibility? Like, what is the actual goal for this account? So I think that's first and foremost, very big picture. One of the first things you should understand before auditing a Google Ads account. Second, this is huge, is conversion tracking attribution. You go under conversions summary and just make sure that things are active or inactive. Just make sure it doesn't say needs attention. Confirm the conversion actions. Are we looking for things that are just purchases or signups, or maybe even page views? Make sure that in your Google Ads account, in your GA4, Google Analytics, all of that is set up correctly. Next is, make sure that the right conversions are being prioritized. Are we prioritizing purchases as a primary conversion action over a secondary conversion action, such as page views or maybe calls, directions? Just really dependent on the client and the organization that you're working, or the organization's Google Ads that you're working on. Third is campaign settings. This is a biggie, just because this is where you're actually going in and creating changes if need be. The first thing that I take a look at within auditing an account are the Google Ads internal settings. And what I consider Google Ads internal settings is, first and foremost, is auto apply recommendation on. This can be the death of an account. If you have auto apply recommendation on, i.e. add or take away certain keywords, make negatives, this is going to provide more irrelevancy by way of broad keywords that are going to be placed in your search campaigns. And I think this could automatically be one of the big, huge reasons that the customer, the client, the organization is wanting an audit, because this can really mess up an account. That, and also presence in the locations of a campaign settings, presence versus presence or interest. We all know if you're targeting the US and you have presence checked off, then primarily it's going to be US, people within the US looking to search for your offering or your product, that's going to show ads. But if you have presence or interest, then someone that could just be interested in the US could be actually the one that your ads show for, and that you're going to get clicks for people that may not be even in the US, just because they have what Google deems an interest in the US. So that's super important. And also, I consider under this umbrella also is display and partners network. Most of the time, if you have the display or partners network checked off, make sure you go into the campaign view and see all time, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, see where the spend is allocated for partners or display network, and just see if, it's going to be very, very, I could tell you right now, probably like 90% of all accounts that use Google Ads partners or networks, that Google Ads display or partner networks within a search campaign, usually it's a low conversion rate or low return on ad spend, but not always. But it's good to check that before you turn that off. Next is just make sure the budgets are aligned. Is a specific campaign overspending or underfunded for a specific campaign budget? what are the bid strategies within that budget? Take a look, manual CPC, max conversions, or target return on ad spend. And I also like to go into the change history and see, once I deem the specific bid strategy, then I'll go into the change history and see, for this specific campaign that I'm auditing, when was the last change in regards to bid strategy? Was it 3 years? I've been running for max clicks for 3 years. Maybe it's time for us to switch to something else. Or have we been running return on ad spend for 3 days? Maybe we let it run for a little bit and see more data with that. So take a look at the bid strategy. Another thing that I also like to look at is location. I'm always trying to find patterns as a Google Ads manager. I'm trying to see if I could, use some data that you've kind of gathered before with the spend that you have in your Google Ads account. Is California? I always use California because this is actually a use case for one of my old clients or organizations that I work with. Is California just beating every other state in return ad spend or conversions or CPA? So try to extract something from that. Or if you can't extract something from a positive side, look at where the spend is but no conversions or conversion value. That is also as good. Narrowing down, in my opinion, regarding locations of where spend has happened but without conversions or conversion value is almost as good as pinpointing an outlier of a lot of conversions and a lot of conversion value in regards to location. Next is ad schedule. Are your ads running 24/7? Is there a schedule in place of where we're trying to just show the ads, maybe Monday, Wednesday, or Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? How does that look? And also the devices, mobile versus desktop. How much spend has tablet had, and how terrible is the conversion value or conversion or return on ad spend, CPA? Usually tablets not, maybe there's a couple niches in our market where tablets actually really good, but primarily from what I've seen, tablets pretty bad. Take a look at the campaign settings. Fourth is keyword and search terms. Look at all the match types in the accounts. Are we just too broad where we're getting so much irrelevancy with search keywords that we're putting in? Do we have too many search keywords where the budget's not actually spending or the budget is spending, but then you have search keywords that are not getting any clicks or impressions because it's spread too thin? Are we too exact where we don't have enough volume because it's too exact and not enough exact search keywords within a ad group or campaign? Take a look at those things also. I also like to do search term reports. This is a quick one where you could show the client, or your boss, hey, this is what we've been spending money on. And I can see right here, we've been spending money on testing this for X amount of cost, X amount of budget spend, or X amount of days, months, years, and clearly it hasn't done any good for us. So let's get rid of it. This is when you get a little bit more granular with the checklist, and identifying any high intent terms or something that just really is working well. Maybe that's something to consider to break off into a separate campaign where, there's no chance for any cannibalism from any other ad group inside that campaign because you're solely focusing on high intent search keywords or products. That's something to take a look at. Fifth is ad copy and extensions. Do the ads clearly match the searchers and their intent? A lot of the times, we could always do better with this. Does the landing page match the ads and the search keywords that we've put in there? Most of the time our quality score is going to be really bad just because the landing page or the ads or the search keywords aren't all aligned. If those are not all aligned, then you're going to usually see a negative response on Google Ads. Next is landing page experience. We alluded this a little bit, but does the landing page match the ad promise or the service or the offering? Is it loading? Is the page loading fast and mobile friendly? This actually had a little bit of an argument with someone on TikTok this last week, and I'm going to make a separate video there just because they were so adamant that they're so adamant that client's page speed didn't matter. And I don't think he or whatever really understood what I was trying to say from a Google Ads perspective. And they were saying Google Ads doesn't care if you have a fast website. Well, I mean, perhaps technically they don't. Google Ads will not rank you higher because you have a faster website than XYZ competitor. But Google Ads will factor in bounce rate. And primarily, bounce rate is attributed to if your website is not loading fast. Is it the only reason why people bounce? Absolutely not. But I'm sure there's a study out there that could factor in if your mobile website or your website in general is not loading quickly, then there's probably going to be a higher bounce rate. And we know for a fact Google is not going to reward websites with a higher bounce rate. Moving on, number 7. Performance metrics, deep dive. Just take a look at, I always like to look at the columns of click-through rate, CPC, either conversion rate, and then return on ad spend and CPA. I always have those columns up. So just take a look at that, a little bit of an overall, perspective. You don't have to get super deep into it because then at this point, step 7, you're Google Ads audit's kind of getting a little long. You're probably getting a little restless here, but just take a look at it, and if you're an experienced PPC manager, or even if you're not, you could kind of see if you have those columns pulled up in campaign view, CTR, CPC, conversion rate, return on ad spend, and CPA, you'll be able to see some type of outlier, something that doesn't look right. But yeah, and if you're not that experienced, one thing that I do want to recommend, and I cannot recommend it more, or I cannot not recommend it more, but I cannot recommend it enough, I guess, is just having Opteo. Opteo has been our partner, and I'm pulling this up right now. Opteo has been a partner for us, and if you mention the PPC Cave, link is in description, Opteo.com/the PPC Cave, they will move you from the regular 14-day trial to a 28-day free trial. And I will, if you need help setting it up, I'll set it up for free because it's that easy. It really takes me 15 minutes, maybe even less, to set up an account. So if you want to try this, go ahead, click in our video description, theppccave.com, or sorry, Opteo.com/theppccave. So if you were to go into Opteo right now, this will expedite all of your audits. I promise you. All of the stuff that I just told you, you could just throw it out the window. If you have Opteo and you need to audit people, this is the best way. Okay, so go to Toolkit. You click Toolkit right here, and then click Scorecard. Open the tool Scorecard, and then click Generate Scorecard. And then you'll see right here on the screen, if you're on Spotify, switch over to Spotify video or our YouTube, and the Google Ads Scorecard has loaded. You can see this account has a 72 overall score, and it provides all these good insights regarding best performing areas, and it'll break it down. It'll break down the best, worst performing areas, key statistics like spend, impressions, return on ad spend, or target CPA, or conversion rate, conversion value. Also the integrations. Is it integrated to Google Analytics, Search Console, Google Business Profile, YouTube? Obviously, the more that the ecosystem is filled out like that in Google, the better it's going to be favorable for you as Google Ads PPC manager. Conversion tracking. Is it firing? Is it not firing? Where is it? Where are we getting the conversion volume? Where is the conversion volume in regards to the goals you've set in Opteo, or the conversion value in regards to the goal that you set in Opteo? Also, any disapprovals, any search campaigns or ads that are disapproved. You could take a look. You could look on my screen. You could see all this landing pages. This is really a good one too. How healthy are the landing pages that you are using on Google Ads? Is the destination URLs timing out, or is there an error, or is it working perfectly fine? You could see the broken links, redirects, use of HTTPS. We have to make sure the destination URLs are secured with HTTPS. And then you could see even like projected spend for a potential client, any limited budgets or campaigns, the overall campaign spend, and what's allocated overall under the currently enabled campaigns. You don't have to go click or click to the campaign overview in the Google Ads dashboard. It's all right here in Opteo. You can even see the quality score of your ads: good, okay, poor. How's your ad extensions? We all know if you have your site links, call outs, structured snippets, all of that are beneficial to your Google Ads, experience. And also just looking through and taking a look at match type breakdowns. How many keywords do we have our exact phrase, broad, the search term coverage. Are we usually getting matched for our search terms, or is it just close variants or unmatched? And then also, this is one of my favorites, search term alignment. So with your search terms, with your ads, and also just the copy and landing page, it takes all those things in consideration and gives you a score. Obviously, the higher the score, the better your quality score by default should be on Google Ads. And then it even has a section for Performance Max and what the channel distribution looks like on Performance Max. Is it primarily on shopping, display, video? Where can you do better in Performance Max in regards to adding assets? That's me, because I'm adding an asset group for Performance Max. Multiple asset groups is what Google recommends, but most of the time people just run one catch all, which is not how it should be. We're not getting the most out of Performance Max with one catch all asset group. Let's just be clear about that. And also the product performance. Taking a look at the product breakdown, if you're in e-commerce, this will prompt you to take a look at the Merchant Center. And no one likes to look at Merchant Center. Well, maybe some people do, but it's super, super important for us to take a look at Merchant Center. And this will kind of prompt you if you need to take a look at that. So exiting out of this, Opteo, again, I use this on the daily every time. This is invaluable when it comes to doing a Google Ads audit. And I promise you, if one of your services is just Google Ads audit, you're definitely going to win, and win quickly and be faster and more efficient with this as a resource. This is a quick episode. We always want to just keep things fresh and keep things actionable, especially when Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming along. And this last quarter, we're going to see, in my opinion, because I do a lot of e-commerce clients, a little bit of an uptick. So you're going to need to make sure that things are straight away. Your new clients get audited, old clients get audited also. And don't forget, we always release Monday, 12 a.m. Mountain Time. If you have any questions, email us at theppccave@gmail.com. And you could find me at tempest59.com if you have any questions. And also, this checklist is live on my website. You could take a look there. And if you need the PDF checklist copy, just email me and I'll be able to get it to you, email it back to you also. Again, opteo.com/the PPC Cave. Upgrade your free 14-day trial to a 28-day trial. Just try it out. I'll set it up for you if you need help setting it up. It takes 15 minutes to do. Super, super easy. And if there's nothing else, bye for now.